another weekend roundup with Wargamer Dad. That's me. This week I'm going to be looking through some things that have come across my Facebook page, my Twitter feed, and various other stuff I've seen in my local gaming shop, and various bits and pieces like that over the last couple of weeks. I think the most exciting thing to come out recently, posted yesterday on the 16th, or even today on the 16th, Apocalypse. GW have announced Apocalypse. They've been teasing it for a while, but we've got a lot more detail. We've got, look at these fantastic dice, wound markers and that, all kinds of cool things. Movement trays. This is the first time we've ever officially seen movement trays for 40k. If you're going to be moving that many models, it's going to speed up the Apocalypse game no end. For anybody who's previously played Apocalypse, the turns take a long time. I think the longest I've ever taken with the longest I've ever seen taken with a turn was with a 40,000 point game. That was 20,000 points per side. We did it for a friend's birthday. He and another friend of his were playing a Praetorian Imperial Guard army, 20,000 points worth of infantry. Each of their turns, our turn would take an hour or two. Their turn would take 4 hours. We did a turn. They did a turn. We went home. We came back. The game took us 2 weeks. It was his birthday, and we gave up without ever finishing the game because after 2 weeks we just didn't care. Never ever. If you're talking 40,000 point games with Imperial Guard or Horde armies, no, just say no. Unless you've got the time and you've booked off holiday, in which case say yes, because it was an amazing game. Just the sheer amount of troops on that table was unbelievable. Too many. Yes, there were BMOs, yes, there were tanks. Also, something really exciting about, we've got a lot of new Apocalypse battalions. I don't know what the money saving on these is going to be, whether or not you're going to be saving any money. They might be like the starter army collections where you're actually saving a significant amount. They might be like the one-click collections where you're actually just paying price for price, and they've just packaged them in a nice way for you. So that's something to watch out for. Check the price and see if it's any good. There's some cool battalions, but the one that's exciting me the most is this. We haven't had that much in the way of Primaris pre-built stuff before. See if that gets focus. Can you get a good focus on that? You cannot get a good focus on that bloody screen. Nope. But this is an entire Primaris force. There are no normal Marines. So whilst we've had some things like the Dark Imperium box or the last box, Shadow Spear, that's it, where we've had groups of stuff and new stuff come out. This is the first time we've just had effectively a battle box of Primaris, where you haven't had to figure out a way of splitting it with your mates. Obviously there are a few bits and pieces with Primaris come out to support the Dark Imperium collection, but most of those were part Primaris, part Death Guard. So again, you're looking for a friend to split it with to make it worthwhile. Whereas this this is, to my knowledge, the first only Primaris specific battle box. It's built in detachment format, so that should be fairly cool, because it will not only gives you a good starting point for an army, but gives you an actual detachment of guys so that you can work them together in Apocalypse. Obviously, they are pushing the Baneblade, the new Gravis hover tank thing, and the new Adeptus Mechanicus hover tank, which is also another cool thing. I do like the new Primaris tank. I like the look of it. Unfortunately, we expected a lot of stuff to be based on the Gravis tank, because once the Imperium builds a chassis, they then vary everything off the chassis. It is a little disappointing that that's the first Primaris battle tank, just because it is another £50 tank. And I've seen them, they're really nice, they're really big and chunky, they're totally worth £50. It's just a bit of a price tag. Yeah, a bit of a price tag for your line, your tank of the line. And of course, where would a GW release be without some Black Library beauty to just get you inspired? I don't have time to read a lot of Black Library novels at the moment, but they're all really good. They're really nice. I totally recommend reading them because they get you into the game. They get you into the background. They get you making pew pew noises and daka daka noises when you're moving your vehicles, going meow. And let's be fair, if you're not going when you're rolling 400 dice for your apocalypse army, are you really even playing 40k? So that's pretty cool. What else have we got out this week from GW? We've got some new Necromunda stuff, which if you play Necromunda is cool. If you want to use those to convert some stuff for Kill Team or some other 40k stuff, there's some awesome stuff there. We've got these two really nice models there, some gangers and that, which but also these two new models can be found in the Gangs of the Underhive supplement. So that's pretty cool. Obviously, you've got the various specific gangs, but these guys are much more general gangers. So that's really cool there. You've got the Delac heads and the weapon upgrades, and the Dome Runner and Ammo Jack are all available to pre-order on the Forge World website now. So head over and check that out if that's something you're interested in. Obviously, expect it to be quite costly because it is Forge World, and Forge World are not cheap. You're paying for resin, although in all fairness, I much prefer the plastic that Games Workshop do directly. What else? We've seen the release of the contrast paints, and to go along with those, we have a color app, which will help you decide what paints you want to use and how you want to use them, and help you see how they work and how cool they are. Both for new paints and classic paints. I have popped down and I got some of the Skaven Seer Grey and some of the Griffin Grey, and I've given it a bash. It was quite cool. On the Space Marine models, we've got a lot of large flat surfaces. You do see the pooling up, so I had to dry brush on with that. In all fairness, the way it works is it's a 2/3 stage thing, where you basically go primer, contrast, and then add your details / dry brush or whatever. The way we previously been working, a lot of us, is you're priming with your prime. You're not priming with a primer. You're priming with a base coat a lot of the time nowadays. The army painted base coats are really good. Say you want to do Imperial Fist, you use their demon yellow, spray the whole thing, and then you wash over with an appropriate yellow wash, and then dry brush up anyway. So if you were, as GW suggest, priming, base coating, washing, it removes a whole step from there, because you're just priming and then your base coat / washing together. If you were using base coats as your primer, which a lot of us have been doing with some of the as I say, with some of the army painter sprays, it's no faster or slower than that. It's pretty much the same speed. It just does it in a slightly different way, which gives you a slightly different effect. It's nice, it's cool, and they're actually very easy to use. So I think it's another tool, another string to the bow of more experienced painters, and it will provide a lot of access to get stuff painted quite quickly for the less experienced painters. So all in all, I approve. I wouldn't say it's going to change the way I paint, but it's certainly going to help. What else? Bits of War. Got some new stuff out. Got this lovely sort of war table out, which is going to look good for either Kill Team or anything, or Necromunda, or just inside a building if you're playing 40k. Got these Gothic High City billboards, which are designed, if not for Necromunda, they swear at Necromunda, but what actually I'm looking at the most at the moment from Bits of War, or Cromlech as they're also known, is these. You've got some transparent bases. Now, if you like doing bases, and I love doing bases, they may not be for you, but if, like me, you spend like 5 to 10 minutes doing a really cool snow effect base, so that your space walls look awesome and look like they're on Fang, and you end up playing on your mate's gaming table, which is a desert board, and you think, why is there snow on this desert board? They're really good because whatever you base them on is gonna whatever you put on them when it plays is going to blend in perfectly with whatever game mat you're using. So that's pretty cool right then and there. If you're playing on desert, you guys will be walking on desert. If you're playing on mud, you guys will be walking on mud. It looks really cool, and it's not going to clash. So they're quick, and they're a quick and easy way of doing it. Obviously, if you do use those bases, they are transparent, so you are going to have to paint your model separately. You can't, as most of us do, you can't stick it on a base, stick that base in your GW handle and start painting. You have to paint the model and then base it and then do stuff to it. There are several ways around that, pinning it with a bit of cork and stuff like that. But that is something really cool. And as you can see, they've got, I'll just get that. As you can see, they've got all the various sizes and shapes you might need. So that's something pretty cool out there. That's fairly awesome. Where are we? Dogmite Games. A competition basically buzzed its way past me from a company called Dogmite Games. You can win a £400 GM screen, which I thought £400 for a GM screen, that's ridiculous. And then I saw the GM screens and oh my God, they're amazing. And the back of them is even better. They haven't got a picture on this page. Oh no, here you go. They have. You've got a built-in dice tower. You've got oops, sorry, get that back there. You've got little bits of plastic on which you can keep initiatives and other notes you want to see, or you want to be seen by your guys. You've got a pen bit. You've got a screen that you can use to pin down stuff. You've got little shells for your models and that. Basically some fantastic looking screens with some fantastic looking stuff. I'm looking at the artwork. That is just beautiful. I am never going to get one because I cannot possibly afford £400. I'll have to make do with the cardboard screens that I bought for 20, but they're just amazing looking. So if you have more money than sense, or if you're just exceptionally well off and have a lot of common sense but can afford to spend the money on one, check out those guys at dogmite.com. They're doing a lot of really nice high-end stuff. Also, because it's Pride Month, they've got some cool Pride stuff only available for what's left of this month. Great if you support Pride. If you just like rainbows, equally great. You see, you've got a couple of card boxes there you can sort your stuff in. You've got a nice little box there, and you've got that, which I like, which is basically a nice little cool dice box to keep your dice in and your figure in. And again, really beautiful stuff. Limited edition for June. That's pretty cool. What else have we got? Oh yeah, we've got another RPG tabletop hybrid, or another RPG board game hybrid. We've got a lot of RPG board game hybrids have come out recently, whether it's the Dark Souls remake board game, or whether you're going all the way back to Zombicide and stuff like that, where your character levels up and continues to grow as you play the game. Almost all of them are a lot of fun to play. The ability to adapt your character, the ability to change your character the way you would with an RPG, even if it's something like the Arkham Horror living card game where you get to alter your deck and things like that. They're all a great way to play, and they're usually a good way of having some sort of board game style thing going, having some sort of RPG style thing going without having to have a person specifically dedicated to being the DM. And don't get me wrong, DMing can be fun. I personally love DMing, but if you never get to the other side of the screen, it can eventually wear you out and burn you out. And a good DM can be hard to find. You get a lot of people who say they want to DM, but after a short amount of time they run out of steam. You get a lot of people who say they want to DM, but you realise they mostly just want to be the guy in charge. So if you can't find a decent DM, or if nobody in your group really wants to DM because they actually want to play and they don't want to sit there reading all through the books and the backgrounds and things like that, The hybrids are a great way to go. This one, it's got a very second-ed feel. The project itself is already backed, but you've still got 13 days to back it if you want. It's been out at UK Games Expo, where apparently it got some fairly good reviews. According to them, I don't know. Yeah. But again, you've got some really nice artwork, very reminiscent of second ed D&D, and some really cool stuff going on there. Yeah. You got your classes and your cool stuff. Anyone can become the story master. If you're playing your own, it will of course be yourself. If there's more than one player, you can have one person who does not adventure and just reads from the book as the story master, or you can all play and take turns reading the story master parts. So it does require somebody. It does require some body to do the story mastering, but because it's written in the book, because it's preset and pre-done, it doesn't have to be the same person. Everyone can have a go. Everyone can read out editions of the books or have fun for it, and everyone can play. Obviously, you don't get as much replayability as you do when you've got a living human being making up stories, reacting and interacting. But, you know, usually for the first time and often for the second time round, you've got a great, you'll have a great little adventure there. Obviously, that depends on how creative and cool the people writing the story are. But, you know, as I say, it got put on Games Expo. They've got plenty of YouTube videos out on there, so check that out. One final thing, not really wargaming per se, but Larian Studios have announced Baldur's Gate 3 is coming out. If you're not aware of it, Baldur's Gate is one of the bigger D&D games. It was always based on the D20 system, so if this one plays anything like Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, it is going to play like a game of D&D, where you have a lot of options, a lot of stuff, and a lot of various ways you can do it. You're going to be able to fiddle with your character, you're going to be able to alter it exactly the way you would in a game of Dungeons and Dragons, with loads of cool stuff going in there. So, you know, I'm looking forward to being able to get a go on it. In all fairness, I never finished Baldur's Gate 2, to be honest. But, yeah, the effects look good. The game looks amazing. It'll be interesting to see what the new company does with it. The first two games were done by a company called Blizzard, who you may know from World of Warcraft, who split away from D&D a while ago over creative differences. Blizzard wanted to take their online Dungeons and Dragons game in a slightly different direction, and D&D said, "Ha! You will never make it without us." And so Blizzard took their online Dungeons and Dragons game, renamed it World of Warcraft, because they'd already made the Warcraft games, reskinned the stuff to be like their Warcraft games, and went off and did their own thing. And nobody ever heard from. Oh no, wait, they're huge. And they have become a huge corporation, just like Dungeons and Dragons, apparently. I don't know. I never got around to playing World of Warcraft, and there's a good reason for that. I have an addictive personality. If I started having a life online, I wouldn't have a life offline. And I've got 3 kids. But it will be interesting to see what the new game's like and how the new game plays. If it's anything like the first 2 Baldur's Gates, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, that's basically it this week, guys. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope I brought something to your attention that you weren't aware of, or something to your attention that you're at least interested in. I will see you guys in a couple of weeks when I do the next weekend roundup. Have a nice weekend, guys. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, remember to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm also on Facebook and Twitter. Not sure why, but I am. So if you like it, see me there, and please tell your friends. Thanks very much. Bye.